So you want to know what motion looked like on the TCL QM8. To the right, brand new for 2024. Today that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. So if you like this video, make sure you smack a like on it and let's dive in. So we're in the testing material playlist here on Quantum TV, and the video is called Motion Test for TV. I kept it simple. So we're going to go ahead and hit play, and we're going to look for artifacts. Immediately there are more artifacts noticeable on the train on the S95D to the left, where the TCL is pretty smooth with only occasional hiccups here and there in between the carts, but not as many as what Samsung is producing. And I think that is something that is actually pretty shocking, because you wouldn't think that TCL, a budget brand, could do something like that. Now in this next example, we're looking for artifacts on the door. TCL definitely remains significantly smoother than Samsung, which appears to be more jittery by comparison. And then we were going to go to the helicopter blades, again looking for artifacts, breaking apart, anything like that. TCL is definitely showing signs of breaking apart. Samsung, surprisingly, a bit more smooth on this example. In this example, they're both about the same. TCL has a bit more in the way of artifacts, but nothing too detrimental. And TCL is super smooth on this example, where Samsung now is a little bit more jittery. So now we're going to look for the artifacts on the tunnel walls, and as we look, both look relatively clean. I don't see any real artifacts on either one, honestly, and I think that's a pretty good sign for both of them. With, again, fast-paced, super hyper fast moving content, both are pretty good at making sure they clean that stuff up. So now we're going to look for artifacts in between each line, and again, it's not like it's something that you can see if it's a good TV, but bad TVs, it would be very clear. And again, I don't see any breaking apart in between any of the lines, any of the geometry, especially as we're zooming in and panning. The judder, though, is noticeable on the Samsung in comparison to the TCL to the right. TCL is just slaughtering Samsung for motion in this example. And so far, in every example that I've seen outside of maybe like one, which is impressive to say the least. And so now we're looking again, and we see that they're both pretty smooth in that example. Samsung was a little bit smoother there. They're both super smooth here, but the edge goes to Samsung for this. Now we're going to look for artifacts in between the hockey sticks as they get closer. Samsung has more artifacts. TCL remains smooth. Now we're going to look for any kind of motion smearing or anything like that. Major DSE. I see some DSE on the TCL, but not a lot. It's really faint, and you'd have to really stare to see it, but it is there. And the checkerboard patterns. Again, I don't really see any real issue with motion for this example, so we're going to switch to my next test. Okay, so now we're here in PS5 just testing out some panning motions. And the first thing I will say is, as you pan, TCL is wildly smooth. And I mean wildly smooth. It just looks so 3D with the amount of motion resolution that you have. For anybody unfamiliar with that term, motion resolution, it's the resolution of, again, objects in motion. And it makes, again, everything look cleaner and clearer by effect, because you're in motion and you're able to see. It just adds another level of dimensionality. It's not to say that the Samsung isn't smooth, because it too is smooth. But the TCL is just doing something really, really fluid. Again, Samsung's still fluid in its own right too. We all knew that. But I'm really surprised to see how fluid TCL actually is. And again, you do fast pans. That's where, again, you really start to see TCL just maintain total smoothness. It's really cool. Like, I'm not going to lie. Their motion processing this year is on an entirely different level. And I think that's a testament to what they've, I don't know, fed this thing or whatever the case may be, but I'm truly enjoying the motion experience. Like, if you're somebody in a first-person shooter, I guarantee you're going to enjoy your time. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and boot one up. So here we are once more in Tiny Tina's Wonderland, and again, just doing some panning motion so you guys can see. When we pan things around, the clearness edge is actually going to the Samsung. For this particular example, Samsung is literally just way cleaner. Like, way cleaner. It's not that the TCL isn't clear. It's that it has a little bit more in the way of motion blur. And that motion blur is just noticeable by comparison to, again, the S95D to the left, where it's just really responsive to the point where I don't notice any smearing of any kind. And again, I'll show you what it looks like when you get into some action and you just start game playing, you know. It's very clean, very smooth. I haven't had any issues whatsoever. Both, though, are, again, really stellar, but TCL in their motion processing this year, something truly special, well above what they did last year. For those who own last year, there is a significant upgrade over last year's motion processing. I don't know what other people will tell you on YouTube. Not here to really get into what they think. I'm just here to tell you what it really is, and when you really look at what it actually is, it's damn impressive what they were able to accomplish. Like, truly. They did a great job this year, and I think if you're somebody who cares a lot about motion, this is definitely going to be one of the TVs to get. Now, normally I would be able to go in and do some really cool stuff for, you know, sports or stuff like that, but copyrights are very strict and they're not loosening up anytime soon online, so we have our limitations as content creators as far as what we can show you. But as far as what you're seeing on screen, again, in a firefight, you can kind of see, like, I mean, maybe you tell me which one between the two in the firefight looks clean or cleaner, because to me, they both look pretty damn good. I don't have any issues whatsoever. Like, not even a little bit. Don't run, you coward. Gone. I mean, this is like where it becomes a lot of fun too, though, because, I mean, I'm looking at the TCL. I haven't looked over at the Samsung once. And normally when I do these reviews, I'm looking at the more expensive TV almost the entire time for the motion processing portion. But the motion processing is just so clear and clean, I don't really feel a need to. But now looking over at the Samsung to see what Samsung can pull off, yeah, Samsung is like ultra clear and clean as well. And as I'm looking over again, I don't have any issues to speak of, like none whatsoever. And again, you're able to whip your camera around pretty aggressively, pretty quickly, where, again, usually that kind of thing would be pretty jarring. On here, it's just easy, and I think that's going to be something a lot of you guys are going to be able to appreciate. But that being said, that's pretty much it for the motion test. Again, can't really do sports or anything like that. You know, I'm not trying to get any copyrights, you know, logos, jerseys, that kind of thing, but that being said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the #1 brand in honesty. Let me know what you guys thought about this comparison, and until the next video, I'll see you guys later.